Hey everyone, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm one of your hosts, David Gussler, and I'm here with my good buddy, Matt Swift. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just here for the Manscaped ad read.
Well, you got a ways to go for that one, buddy.
Man.
But hold on. It's going to come up later on for you. But Matt's here with us, and of course, our producer extraordinaire, Corey Ensko, is here behind the scenes. Corey, don't know if you want to say hello or not, but hello.
I'm also here for the ad read. That's all I'm here for.
All right, David, you got to carry the show, and then we'll just see you at the ad read.
Well, congratulations, everyone. You get to hear me ramble for an hour by myself. No, I'm just joking. So, but welcome, everyone, and exciting times for Charlotte Football Club fans. Swift, Corey, we've officially clinched the playoffs, and I think finished, fifth in the East? So pretty exciting times for Charlotte, right, Swift?
Yeah, having a good season, finished strong, good showing in DC. I'm very, very proud of where we ended up. I think we're on this nice trajectory going up. We keep building the team and adding pieces, and it's just a fun time to be a Charlotte FC fan.
Yeah, not to put you on the spot or anything, Swift, but I think you predicted earlier in the year that you would be very happy with a 5th or 6th place finish. And here we are.
Yeah. I thought, based on last year, kind of where we were and where we could go, I thought 5th, 6th. I knew the East was going to be strong. So that was kind of why I didn't have us a little higher. But I thought 5th or 6th was kind of right in the sweet spot. I still think we have some areas of improvement, but I do think we may have added some of those pieces already, and this will carry us into the playoffs. But I'm very happy with where we finish. Yes, lots to improve on. Like I said, I would like to be more in the first, second, and third every season. But just with this franchise, I want it to be solid every single year, top 4 or 5, always in the playoffs, always giving us a chance to get some silverware.
So unless you've been following the show and living under a rock, you probably already know where some of the standings have finished, but I'm going to read off a few of these here and just kind of talk about how competitive between 4th and 7th could have been for this club and for the league. But Inter Miami won the Supporter Shield, broke the record for most points in a single season in terms of, I know, right? So they finished first in the East, Columbus 2nd, Cincinnati 3rd, Orlando City 4th, Charlotte 5th, New York City 6th, New York Red Bulls 7th, Montreal 8th, and Atlanta United 9th. So, Swift, I mean, if you look at that table there, 4th place was 52 points. Charlotte was in 5th at 51 points, so missed it by 1 single point. Yeah. New York City was 50, Red Bulls was 47, and then it kind of gets a little bit of a different span there between it. So, I mean, it could have gone very easily. Charlotte could have been almost eking into the playoffs if it wasn't for this last month worth of performance by the club, right?
Yeah, I think we had that dip in form, which I think kept us out of 4th after that international break, or what was it, Leagues Cup? So had that dip there. I think that hurt us. But then, to your point, we had that strong finish, the last 5 games, which you just got to hit things at the right time. And MLS is such a bizarre league. Like, Arsenal loses this past weekend, and it's basically like, well, there goes the season, because like Liverpool, Man City, they're going to lose maybe a game or 2, and then that's it. But like MLS, you can lose 10 games, 11 games. So there are these teams that kind of have like dips and rises in form. I look at Red Bull; they were hot, and then towards the end of the season, they fell off. So I think we're peaking at the right time, and could have finished 4th, but yeah, to your point, could have very easily finished 7th or 8th too.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the recent run of form, again, hopefully you know this already, but if you look at the last 5 games, they won 4 games out of their last 5 and drew 1, which was against Miami, who's, like we just said, finished first, not in just the East, but the entire league, right? Yeah. So when you're looking at that recent run of performance, I think I saw an article or someone tweet out recently that the only team that had either the same or more points in that same span to end the season was LAFC. The only team. That's so right. Charlotte fans in Charlotte should feel really good right now. I know there was a little of a week break here between, wild card, quote unquote, and our first game against Orlando. But yeah, I think they should feel pretty good. And we scored, I think, a third of our goals for the year during this time frame
Yeah.
too, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing too. The worry that we've had is the lack of creativity and goals, and yeah, we've had that in abundance last 5 games.
Yeah, and I mean, even the defense has played well. I mean, if you take the Chicago game out of the mix, which whatever, like it says they scored 3 goals. I know they technically scored 3 goals. I don't really count that they scored 3 goals because I still think that 1 or 2 should not have counted. But during that time frame, 3 of those 5 games were clean sheets, and you kept a Inter Miami team to only 1 goal by a freak goal of Messi effect, and and that helped them draw while at home. So defense is playing good. Our attack is actually scoring goals. Like if you look at this, we scored 4, 5, 9, 11, 14 goals in 5 games. Probably not going to be sustainable to score 3 or 4 goals every single game, but I hope it is. It'd be a great feeling, right? But yeah, I mean, so let's talk. I mean, like that game that ended the season for us, Swift. I know a lot of MCC folks, a lot of folks tend to go to DC for that game, and we'll talk about the Southern Belt here in just a second. But we ended that streak with a nice 3-0 victory against DC United. And I know we'll talk on it a little bit, but we're going to really talk about the upcoming game against Orlando. How do you feel about that game to end the season? Because the first half I was kind of, it wasn't anything terrible, but it also wasn't anything to be like exciting about. But then we turned it on the second half.
Well, it was good to win 3-0 because our very first game, which was in DC, we lost 3-0, and that seems to be the ongoing scoreline there. So, but it was good to go there and pull out a victory, scoring 3 goals. But yeah, the first half, I felt like we didn't play well. We absorbed a lot of pressure. Our defense did a great job of kind of covering and weathering the storm. I thought we had some like needless giveaways and bad giveaways in the middle, and that kind of put our defense under pressure pretty consistently. DC had a lot to play for too. I mean, they were playing for a playoff spot or a playing spot, so they just came out with a lot of aggression, and I just don't think that we did a good job of handling the ball and just gave it over needlessly. But we didn't concede. We got in at the half, and Dean Smith has been really good about making adjustments, and I think we came out a lot better in the second half.
Yeah, that was the shocking thing to see was that, heading into that game, DC had been not as good of a stretch that we have had, but they had been on a decent stretch. They had been playing better, at least for them in reference to the rest of their season. And at halftime, they had to feel pretty good. They were like, we're tied right now. If we continue this result, we will be in a play-in game at least. We could potentially even host a play-in game. I remember hearing, the announcers mention like it's a quote-unquote sold-out crowd and it's a good attendance there. And DC and audience, quote-unquote when I say sold out because it's not. It was not sold out. I mean, it's sold out like the Panther games are sold out every year nonstop for the past 20 years. But I mean, it's they had a lot to play for, and they came out aggressive, and we started a starting 11 that was a little bit different than what we had been seeing somewhat, right? So you could tell like we were kind of, I won't say resting players, but we had guys coming back from international break.
Right.
Like Karol Swiderski wasn't starting. You had Patrick Agyemang starting for the game. Kerwin Vargas started for the game for us again versus, Lee Labata. So, you had some different performance and different lineups there, but DC could have just came out and just wiped the floor of us. But instead, Dean makes that adjustment in the second half, and all of a sudden we just show up and score 3 goals in really good ways.
How good is it to be able to go into a game at the end of the season, have guys come back on international duty and be able to rest them for a half and still put out a solid lineup? So that's comforting too, going into the playoffs and even like next season and everything else. But I just think that we did a good job, or did just enough of not conceding in that first half. We did not have a lot of possession, and that was very worrisome. But our defense has really found a way to cover for one another and move well as a unit. I think Eric Krakauer, he was on the call. I think he mentioned it a couple of times just how well Melanda will cover for Privet and vice versa, and then Tim Ream will cover and track back and kind of mop up some mistakes or loose balls. But I think some of the passing was sloppy in the middle in that first half, and again, kind of like that middle to defensive third, and I think that's what really kind of affected things. But we kind of cleaned that up in the second half. But Brant Bronico was the difference maker in this game. So we'll talk about the second half, but I think the first half we were a little lucky to get out of there not having conceded a goal.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So Brant Bronico being a huge difference maker in this game made the MLS starting 11 of the week. He was one of two players to make the starting 11 players of the week without scoring a goal. The other one being the goalkeeper. And so just to show you the impact he's made, and we talked a little bit about it last week, he's playing a role that, everyone predicted that Brant Bronico would be our central attacking midfielder back in the beginning of the year. But came in, I think had 2 assists, or one or two assists, and came in and made a difference in that second half with just his vision and balls in and, being aggressive and having a good work rate.
I think our positioning was better in the second half, especially in the middle. But it's funny. We've said it a couple times on the show that, or at least I have, about I don't want Brant Bronico to be our attacking midfielder. To me, that's not his strong suit. But again, he keeps showing people time and time again that he can do whatever. He's, whenever he's asked to do a task, to fill a position, do whatever, he's been able to go in there and make the most of it and prove people wrong. So I'm going to keep saying that I don't really want him to be that attacking midfielder, so he'll keep racking up assists. But amazing performance because, his work rate's crazy. He never gets tired. So if he does lose the ball, he could track back. But I'm hoping we're seeing kind of this improvement of him being a little more confident going forward on the ball. He's very confident, on the ball and making the nice passes sideways and backwards, controlling possession and everything like that. Now, if he can add this dynamic of going forward and being a little more aggressive with some of his passing, that's going to be pretty deadly because I think we're really trying to make sure the 3 that we have in the middle have that defensive bite. That's why we're hard to beat. We got a great goalkeeper, great defensive line, but if your midfield sucks, you're just going to be on under pressure nonstop. And I think that 3 in the middle is where we're going to live and breathe, especially in the playoffs. But so if Brant can get forward and we can break better, and I thought we did that in the second half, we were able to break out of the back a lot better. I think that's going to be a huge difference maker.
Anything else that stood out to you from that game? From a performance perspective, what do you think of Patrick Agyemang getting a start and then being able to produce another goal? I think that goal that he created for us there is not something he would have scored a year ago for us, right? So I think there's been some obvious development, maturity, and ability continuing to be showcased by Patrick.
Yeah, I love Patrick. It's good to see him doing well and catching fire at the right time. It seems like everybody's playing well with one another. Everybody's acclimated to the team. He's getting service when Swiderski's in. He's getting service. We have threats on the wings now, and again, we're winning that middle of the field. So it's all good stuff. And again, when you bring Patrick in the second half, that's scary, but also he can start. So it's a good situation to be in.
What did you think about I don't want to say matchup because it's not like they were playing individually against each other, but Golden Boot, I guess, winner and potential winner. God, I butcher his name every single time. Help me out here, Swift. Benteke, thank you.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't matter what his name is.
I know.
There you go. This game, right?
That's exactly right. No.
Well, but Kalina was called upon very early between those two. So yeah, that was good.
I was going to ask you. So does this game and I guess the way that game ended kind of cement Cement Boots Kalina as the goalie of the year for MLS.
I think we have a question about this, and he should absolutely win goalkeeper of the year. Will he win it? Probably not, because Hugo Lloris is in it, and MLS is MLS, and pundits are pundits and bootlickers, and they'll give it to him. They'll probably give it to Messi if somehow.
Or Suarez, one of the two.
Yeah. It's infuriating. Just the stats say it.
Yeah.
You have a team that's, he's number one in saves, beating the other people that he's up against. You have what are we, the second best defense in the league? I think we're second best. So I don't know. Will he win it? He should, but I don't know. I don't put any faith in MLS.
And he's a finalist now. It was announced today that he was a finalist for it.
Yep.
But I just still find it funny that he is MLS All-Star, not worthy MLS Goalkeeper of the Year potential.
Yeah, didn't get invited to the All-Star team, which is a joke. Yeah, I hope he gets it. He's very deserving.
Yeah. So Kalina, I think, capped off a great season, great performance with that game, and put up a clean sheet against the Golden Boot winner for the league. So really, really exciting to see that come to fruition there. So any other thoughts on DC? I know you didn't go to Walters from that perspective, but I did see some videos and photos that some people did go.
Yeah, Walters is a good spot. You just have to not stay there for 12 hours and drink. Just 2 or 3. So, but yeah, no, I definitely had FOMO because DC is such a fun trip. And for anyone who's listening, if you're thinking about going on an away trip, that's one of the good ones to go to. I think Nashville is a lot of fun, but DC, a ton of people usually go, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, Nashville's on my list for next year. So before we move on from DC, though, we did win a trophy after winning this game. So
yeah, we did.
We talked about certain Macho Man coming out wearing the belt last episode. So shout out to Corey for getting the Macho Man Randy Savage song in the background for half a second. But we walk away as the Southern Belt champions for this year, Swift. So pretty exciting. Can you I don't know if you know all the facts or anything like that, but can you just kind of share what it takes to win that belt and a little bit of the history behind it as well?
Yeah, it's a competition between some of the quote unquote Southern teams, and there are a couple of teams that are not.
DC's in the South. No,
there's lots of debate about it, but this was set up like a while back. So, but what it is, it's just head to head competition basically. So we went into DC needing a draw to win the belt. I wish we would have had the belt in DC. Wish a certain Nashville group would have honored that and given it to us. But we'll get it. We'll get it at the ICS. But yeah, we'll bring that home, the supporter belt. So it's nice.
Yeah. So it. I don't know if and Corey, and Swift, you're from the South too, but like it's kind of reference to the old, the old wrestling federations, the wrestling alliances, kind of like that Mid-Atlantic.
The NWA, AWA, or what is it?
NWO. Yeah, oh, and I'm just joking. So, thank you for those who watched WCW way back in the day. It's just a throwback to that. It's a champion heavyweight belt, has the 4 team stamps on it, just like the Mid-Atlantic heavyweight belt used to have back in the day. So, kind of a nice little nod to the history there, and then also. It's also nice to be able to tout that over Atlanta, Nashville, and DC. So I'm glad that we see that here, hopefully sooner rather than later, heading into next year.
Just some bragging rights and way to throw it in other supporter group faces. That's always fun.
Heck yeah, man! It's always good to talk a little trash, especially some of those Nashville fans that are on Twitter every once in a while.
Speaking of throwing things in people's faces, again, just want to mention where St. Louis finished this season.
Where'd they finish at this year, Swift? I think you put a nice little tweet out for that.
I did. I'm petty. You can call me Richard Petty. I don't care.
Oh, look at that.
They finished 12th. just enjoy the playoffs. Watching the playoffs from home. All you St. Louis supporters who thought you had figured out the league and your team of designated players. Yeah, enjoy 12. That was great.
Good. I'm so glad that we get to tout that a little bit, but that's okay. It's
Yeah.
all right. We're gonna enjoy this moment in time. So so now we get to kind of look ahead, and for those who may be newer to MLS, the playoffs are a little bit of a I don't want to say it's a hodgepodge, but it's kind of a hodgepodge of like football playoffs and then soccer like tournament style. Like it's kind of weird, right? So there is a wild card or a play-in kind of spot for those who don't know. Like Charlotte was in that last year, so the 9th and 8th seed play in that play-in game. This year was a little fun. I don't know if you saw this, Swift, or not, but obviously Atlanta and Montreal played on the East, and Portland and Vancouver was in the West. And a little tidbit, Vancouver finished 8th and Portland finished 9th. But Vancouver was supposed to host this game, but could not because they had a Supercross event scheduled in their stadium that had priority over a soccer game. So they had to travel down to Portland after winning the 8th seed to host that play-in game and had to play away, which was pretty funny. That's the most MLS thing ever, but that is what it is.
A little bit. And look, doing the schedules, it's not easy, especially when you have a stadium that you're sharing and you're trying to get revenue when the team's not there. But I mean, I would think that if your team like, okay, we got to block off these dates because we could be in the playoffs, unless they're just like, yeah, we suck this year. We're probably not going to be in it, so we'll just schedule motocross. I don't know. It's very strange.
That's what's so funny is that it's like it's such a. Is that a big draw in Canada? Like, just like I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah,
but...
I think a lot of people go to motocross.
Yeah, I mean, don't tweet at me if you
tweet at David. David hates motocross.
Make it into a hashtag. So, so that's one way that the playoffs start, right? And then now we had those games Tuesday and Wednesday night. So Atlanta beat Montreal. So Atlanta now is quote unquote in that bottom seed that plays at Miami.
So before you go any further, like decision day, which is the last game of the season. It was crazy. Atlanta was not in the playoffs, right?
No,
all DC had to do, basically, like you were saying earlier, is just draw the game against us. So again, it was kind of nice to knock them out of the playoffs, but that did allow Atlanta to get in. And there were some, Philadelphia was in the mix too. If they would have won, that could have thrown some things around. So, and it was funny because I was texting the guys in DC. I was like, hey. Atlanta's in. Wait, no, Atlanta's out. Now DC's back in. And wait a minute, there's a goal. Wait a minute, now it's at VAR. And like, it was just insane. And so after the DC game, the DC players were literally on the field looking at their pads and phones, waiting to see if they got in or not.
Well, that's like last year. Montreal was in that boat. Montreal missed the play-in game, and they had to watch it on an iPad because we beat Miami and got into the play-in game with that. So very, very similar situation. So, I know people say sports are scripted sometimes, but if that's true, MLS has some really good script writers for decision day at the very end here. You can't.
They have one script writer, and it's for Miami to win every award and do everything. We're going to talk about Coach of the Year nominations too. I'm going to get real angry.
Well, what a great script writer they got that they can plan motocross and keep Vancouver from playing their home game. But anyways,
Vancouver did win that game 5-0. They did. Though. They went to Portland,
crazy,
5-0. And then Evander from Portland had a meltdown and tweeted like all these horrible things about the organization, which was amazing.
Yeah, I think Phil Neville was their coach, who is the old Miami coach, and said, I think God loves Portland or something like that, which is why there's playoff soccer. And then Vancouver's like, I don't believe in God. That's why we won the game 5-0, or some crazy just banter like after the game. So it's craziness there. But so that's the play-in game. But now you go into the first series of the playoffs, which is a best of 3 scenario, which is not how the rest of the playoffs are. It's just this round, right? Crazy, whatever. But I don't mind it because we get a home game now. But now you have a best of 3 series, and our opponent for this game is Orlando. So team that finished 1 point above us. Most recently beat us, I think, 2-0 in Orlando. And we have to travel down to Orlando this Sunday. And then they travel back up to Charlotte for a Friday night game.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on best of 3 series, if the series is drawn, then we have to go back to Orlando and play them again for a third game. So Swift, if you're Charlotte, if you're Dean Smith, how are you feeling about this matchup in Orlando?
I feel like we're due to beat Orlando, and that gives me some confidence. Orlando matches up well with us, though, because we talked about the middle. Orlando's really good in the middle of the field. They have a lot of like bite too, and they're very aggressive. So we might see a fight. I think Westwood gets pretty heated in these games. So look for that. But I think we need to be aggressive in the midfield. I think whoever wins that's going to be the winner of this series. So that's the only thing. I think people were worried about Orlando just because they've kind of had our number a little bit, and most recently. But I think we have figured out the midfield, so I feel pretty good about it. And it's just one of those teams like it's just going to be good to beat them. Like I want to beat Orlando. It's like
can I jump in?
Fans are not
quick?
very nice, and I just would love to beat them.
Go ahead, Corey.
Because we talked about this last game, so I looked it up because have they had our number? Like I don't have this fear of Orlando, but like
yeah,
there's 3 wins, but like you look back at it, yes, we lost to them most recently, but we drew them earlier in the season at home. We drew them last year and beat them last year, and beat them 3 times or beat them twice last season. So like I don't know. I just kind of don't understand the fear we have of Orlando, other than them being on a hot streak right now. They're playing really well. I get that aspect of it, but I don't think they're a team that it's like, oh, we can't beat this team. It's more of I worry about them being on a hot streak and coming in hot, but they're not. When we were talking about who we wanted to play the first round, they weren't one of those. And I'm like, oh, we have trouble with Orlando. So anyway, I just want to throw that in. Kind of actually looking back at the history of them, we have 3 losses against them, but 2 of those were the first 2 matches we played against them.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, Corey. Like I know there's some people say I'm one of those people that are a little worried to play against Orlando. And then there's some folks who feel pretty confident, and it's not like a runaway. It's not like we're never beat. It's not like we're playing Red Bulls and and it's been 3 games or 4 games in a row that we just can't get over the hump. We've shown that we can beat them. We've shown that we drew, and then recently obviously we lost, but that's one game, one snapshot, and it was also a game where we were just getting some of these new pieces kind of acclimated, right? Versus last year or the year before, et cetera. But so good call out there, Corey and Swift. So like, I know you said the midfield from that perspective. I'm looking forward. I'm hoping that Junior Urso gets to have a little bit of revenge or have some fun against his former club a little bit. Going down to Orlando, I think that'll be a nice little kind of present to kind of show that with them, right? But how do you feel now that we've had this attack clicking on all cylinders for quite a while now, 4 or 5 weeks in a row, multiple goals, going up against Orlando now versus last time we could even get I think last time we played Orlando, we barely even got any shots on goal, right? So what's different now?
I think the transition out of the back is better. We have the pieces that can drive the ball forward. We have Pep and Abada really kind of coming into form too. You got Swiderski and Pat. So now we have this offensive threat that Orlando really has to watch. We're not just like booting the ball up the field, right? Because that kind of gets easy to defend after a while if you know that that's what's going to happen. But now we can mix it up a little bit. Now you have people that can drive the ball. You even have Brant that's been able to like go forward and distribute the ball and get us on the break. So I think that's the difference. Because I think that's how we've really wanted to play all season, is just kind of like defensive first and then counterattack. But we didn't have the counter. Like we just defensively we're solid. We just didn't have the other piece. And so it doesn't matter how good your defense is. If you don't have that other piece, you're just eventually going to concede a goal because you're just constantly under threat.
So, I mean, and I know Corey shared the stats a little bit earlier, but like Charlotte's 1 win, 2 draws, 3 losses against Orlando. So, vice versa for Orlando, right? 3 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss.
2 wins.
But
we had 2 wins.
2 wins. Oh, sorry, apologize. Thanks. Good. Thanks for the correction there. So, if you look at it from that perspective, Swift, I mean, I am worried a little bit just because Orlando was on a hot streak a little bit. But I don't know if you've seen their recent performance here towards the end of the season or not. But I mean, they were one of the better teams after Leagues Cup. We were one of the worst teams after Leagues Cup. But it seems like all of a sudden, you just talked about it. MLS is this league where, recency matters. And I think Charlotte's been outperforming Orlando vastly over the last month and heading into the playoffs compared to where Orlando was. I think Orlando they had a nice little win streak there and got some points and jumped us, but they were kind of lucky we weren't able to catch up or jump them towards the end of the month or into the past 6 weeks.
Yeah, we just missed out on one game. But it is what it is. I think these two teams are very evenly matched, like I've said. So it's going to be interesting. Again, I think it just comes down to the midfield and who can win that. And but I feel like this is going to be a very, very aggressive game. So our players need to have a good head on their shoulders and not get into car trouble and maybe hopefully get them into car trouble. But I have confidence though in our transition play now. So I'm hopeful for what we can do in this series.
So a little random fact here. Do you know who has the most cards in the series between Orlando and Charlotte FC? Just if you had to guess, what player has the most cards in this series?
Westwood?
Nope. Our new our new cam, Bram Bronico.
Oh, okay.
Has the most cards. I think he's got 3 yellows in this series so far.
I can see him getting another one.
Yeah.
At least in one of these games.
Scrappy game. Yeah, it's a scrappy game.
Yeah, like Westwood really needs to make sure that he has a good head on the shoulders because I think he mentioned it on WFNZ. He was on this week with Mac and Bone, and he referenced that. He referenced how physical it is, and he had to go at some of the players, and Brant too. So we just got to be smart in the series.
Yeah, if you listen to that interview, I had to chuckle a little bit because I think one of the things that they said, he's 34 years old, and he finished first with the most total distance in the league as a player. 34 years old, most distance covered from a just a field perspective. And they asked him, I'm like, what's keeping him young? And he referenced some kind of like Real Housewives show, but it's like a British version or something. I don't know where it was or anything like that. So he watches that obviously with his wife probably, and then he said Modelo's. So I thought that was pretty good.
I thought he said chasing his kids around.
Is that what he said? I don't know.
That's what he said. He said chasing his kids around.
Man, I don't know.
Watching like Real Housewives of London or whatever.
I could have sworn. I'm gonna pull that up. Maybe Chantry posted something and it's like, I don't know. Maybe it was chasing his kids around.
He did say Modelo. He did say Modelo though. He did say that, but I thought he said chasing my kids around. And
you know
Modelo.
What? So
I
Ashley,
do like Real Housewives. I think that's a better answer.
Ashley, if you're listening to the show, I apologize. Yes. But I swear he said something or someone quoted him with that. I'm gonna look it up while we're filibustering here for a second. But that's huge for a 34-year-old to cover that much distance and stay young in this league. And I know they've talked a little bit about like him re-signing and how big of a deal and how he enjoys Charlotte, but he's been really solid this year. And to get that kind of a quality player for what we're paying for, like I know I think he's a TAM level player, but getting good value for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would think it would be Brant because Brant runs a lot, and I'm sure he's right up there with him. But it just kind of goes to show that we have 2 midfielders that are probably in the top, 1-2% of the league in distance covered, and it just goes to show you the work rate. But Westwood, he's very good about tracking back, getting the ball out of the back, turning, facing, playing the ball forward, and just being all over the field. It's great. He's been such an amazing addition to this franchise.
Yeah, I'm still looking for this. I don't know where I got this housewife thing coming up from, but
I think you made it up, but it's awesome that it was in your head.
I don't even know where I came from. That's okay. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it during the break here a little bit later and see what we can find. But I think Ashley's gonna be, and I think Brant would have caught up to Ashley, but Brant had some games earlier this year where he wasn't starting or getting
That's very true.
consistent
And
minutes.
he was a little he was injured at the beginning of the season. Didn't he miss like a couple of games? Am I mistaken? Man, it's a long season, but I thought he missed maybe a couple of games just
feels
for that.
like years ago that Brant was starting at left back for us, but that's okay. We won't mention that again.
We will never not mention that ever. And I think did he only play there for like 2 games or something, or was it just one game?
It was 2 games.
Just one game. Was it 2 games?
It was 2. It was the St. Louis game, and then it was the game after St. Louis, and then it never happened again.
Yeah, it should have never happened anyway. Oh, God. We've come a long way, my friends.
we really have.
Dean Smith is a godsend. I will say that from what we had, man. Oh my God.
So speaking of playoffs, and I have to ask this question to start this one, but it involves Charlotte hosting the second game on Friday night.
Yeah.
Swift, it's killing me to ask this question. It's like, I'm surprised no one's even asked this question yet.
Oh, I'm going to murder you on her. I'm going to kill you on her. Yeah. Go ahead. Ask it.
Is the upper deck open yet?
I'm going to stab you in the face. I'm going to stab you in the face. Oh, man. What? Man. I have seen that question asked like 50 times. And one thing that I'm hoping that our fan base, and it's not everybody, I shouldn't be mean. Just sometimes you just got to wait a day or two and things will happen. I promise. Like sometimes you just got to be a little patient. People were really worried about the upper deck being open. And I'm like, just give it a couple of days. It'll be open. They want to see how the lower bowl fills out because like that just makes sense. But yeah, it's open now. If you were curious, it's open. You can stop asking about it.
Oh, I'm gonna ask more. I'm gonna ask some more serious questions here. So, but no, it's funny you say that though because do you think? I mean, it's not going to be a 75,000 person match, right?
No,
but I think it's going to be a decent attended game still, don't you think?
I think so. It's it's different. It's a Friday night, and we haven't done this yet. It's still during the week. So it's going to be interesting to see the turnout. I'm hoping that it's good. I'm glad that they're playing. So the alternatives were playing it Saturday, but had to play early because Panthers are playing Sunday. You got to have a little bit of time to turn the field over. So I kind of like that they're playing it at night because we got the laser show, we got the video with the crazy Fever Dream Queen thing going on, we got the McTorchy dude coming out there with all that stuff. Like, it's good that it's at night instead of like during the day. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm just so glad you called him Torchy because you got Minty and now you got Torchy kind of doing this stuff.
What is that dude? Do we have what is that dude's name?
We don't have a name for him yet.
Mr. McTorchy.
So I will say there's sporadic chants that happen in the supporter section that I think it's like Torchy whenever he's coming out. So
yeah. Torchy's fine.
Just keep weird with the weird mascots. It's fine. We'll just keep plugging
Torchy
them along.
McTorcherson.
Yeah, Corey behind the scenes said Torchy McTorcherson.
Torchy McTorcherson.
It's like Bodie McBoatface. It's great.
Yeah.
We need to have a fan vote for the Torch guy and what his name could be.
Yeah, they really should. They got to give him a name.
So we've got those 2 games coming up. So Swift, are you going down to Orlando or no?
Not the first game. Hopefully I'm not going to Orlando. Hopefully, first game we win, and then they come back home, and we take care of business here. And then I'll go to the second round game, wherever that is.
Well, I'm going, Swift. And if you were a real fan, you would be joining me on Sunday.
That's exciting. So, Corey, are you going? I can't remember.
I'm very sad. I'm going to Orlando for a work trip. I'll be there 24 hours after the match, and I couldn't get it rearranged in time to get there. This was booked ahead of time, but if I was there 24 hours earlier, I could go. I thought hard about trying to figure out a way to do it and decided that I don't know how my wife would feel about me leaving her at home for another day solo with the children, and how work would feel about me changing flights for a soccer match. So I decided not to, but I'm very sad because it was so it just lined up so closely. I would love to have been able to go.
Sounds like a bunch of non-passionate fans that are not going to. No, I'm just joking. So, no. So I will carry the torch from Torch Guy for you,
Oh,
and I will be
that's a
down there in
good, nice
Orlando.
pun. Okay,
Yeah, I'm full of them lately, man. So I'll be down there in Orlando.
nice.
I'll be cheering and screaming and going from there. But it sucks that you can't get that work trip. You couldn't get the wife to sign off on that, Corey. I don't blame you. My wife kind of looked at me too and said, "You can go." That was literally
Nice.
her response for it. So
Yeah, it was one of those
see.
where I didn't even ask. So I was
kinda
like,
like
there's
history.
no way I can sell this. Like I'm not even going to try this one. So
Yeah, I don't blame you. What were you about to say, Swift? Sorry.
No, it's history. Yeah, I mean, the play-in game it's nice. That was nice, but like this is like legit playoffs for me. So it's good.
It is.
It's awesome. Glad you're getting to go.
That's why I was wanting to go, because I went last year, and plus I don't want last year to be my first playoff memory. It was not fun. It was not great. The experience going up was fun, and hanging out beforehand was fun.
Yeah.
But the game itself was not quite fun. But hopefully this one ends up a little bit better. But be flying out of Charlotte early Sunday morning, and getting down there, mid to late morning, and hanging out with some folks. And so if you're listening to this show, from what I understand, that Frontier flight from Charlotte is going to be full of nice Charlotte FC fans from southbound Mint City. A few other folks are going to be on it. So we'll be turning that green plane into a mint plane, if you get what I'm saying.
All right.
So Swift, I have to ask this. Have you ever seen a game in Orlando or no?
Not Orlando, no.
Okay. So I was curious because I was trying to figure out if there was a Walters or a place that we need to go hang out in beforehand. I'm not drinking all day because I have to work the next day. But if you're listening to this show and you have a suggestion for a hangout, I know a lot of the Mint City folks are looking, southbound folks are looking around, stuff like that. But if you know a good place for us to hang out, tweet at the show, hang out with us. And if you want to have some fun adventures, I kind of teased this with Swift earlier, but if you want to follow the show account, we might have some photos and videos of David's adventure down to Orlando to kind of.
Is it just going to be you and Porter Johns? Is that what's going to happen?
No, it's not going to be just Porta Johns down there. But okay. Yeah, we'll make it a good content. I'll make it serious, and we'll have a few jokes here.
You're going to make it serious. Get rid of it. Come on. Don't make it serious. Come on.
Yeah,
dude.
It'll be a fun experience here for it. But yeah, hopefully we win down there in Orlando. But Swift, what do you think this first series is going to be like, and what do you think that first game's going to be like down there? Do you think we win or what?
Ooh. I think we get a draw.
I think we draw. So you can't draw though.
I'm just kidding. I'm
kidding.
I'm kidding. The thing is, it should be aggregate, right? It's not.
But that goes back to my point of just this hodgepodge of MLS playoff. It's like most tournaments, things like this, it's like away goals and home goals and things like that. I know, Corey, you mentioned this previously in another episode. But, no, of course not. We're just going to make it uniquely MLS. You're going to have a play-in game, then you're going to do a best-of-3 series, then you're going to do single elimination, and then the best-of-3 series, there's no draws, no goal differential or anything like that. If it's tied, you go straight to PKs, which is what happened with Montreal and Atlanta, by the way.
Yeah, no, I think we win in Orlando. I think we get kind of a smash and grab goal, maybe like a header and the loose ball in the box. I think it's going to be a feisty, ugly game this first game.
Just make it feisty and ugly enough that it stays on the field and that does not boil over outside the stadium, please, because I would like to get back to my hotel in one piece if we win. Not if we win, when we win. So it's not a great time to realize you have a Charlotte FC tattoo on your leg that you can't really hide if you're down there. So it's it's gonna be a good old time, I think, there, Swift. But yeah, so I think we win as well down there. I think it's gonna be a really tough match, but I think we get a late goal at the very end. I think we win 1-0 down there. Corey, not to put you on the spot, Corey, but what you think?
Ooh, it's tough. Because if it wasn't for the weird rules, I would say draw. right? Like
Yeah.
that is legitimately my answer, but that's not allowed.
Because MLS, it's fine.
I'd say we win 2-1.
Win 2-1. Okay.
Yep.
Who scores for you there, Corey? You gotta make it super particular, like that. Our very first episode before the first game, where I said,
like, like as a quick side story, when I made the bet about Montreal, when I said it was like going to be 4-0 and very like,
Yep.
my wife keeps asking me what that exact bet was because she's like, every time somebody scores, like, was that part of the bet? It's like, even though the bet's not even like a relevant thing anymore, she's like, who did you say would do it?
Yeah.
No, I think we get a Swiderski goal, and I think, let's get a Bronico goal. He deserves one.
Ooh, okay. So a Swiderski goal and a Bronico goal, and you have us winning 2-1.
2-1.
Swift, what do you think your goal prediction is going to be? Who do you think is going to score down there?
1-0. And man, I want to say like Patrick or Malanda or Privet, kind of one of our bigger guys getting kind of like I said, a smash and grab, like maybe a free kick into the box or a corner kick, something just ugly. I think 1-0.
I'll take an ugly goal for a win. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Bronny, bro. That's what I'm gonna say. Bronico as well. So
yeah,
I that's my guy. So I gotta get him on there and get him on to get the win on the road. So set us up for the clincher at home on Friday night. So Swift, anything else you want to talk about Orlando before we take a quick break and we do fan Q&A at the very end?
No, I want to get to this Manscaped ad read. This one. It's the only reason I got on the show tonight.
It's the only reason you're on. I got it. So we will be right back.
Matt, got a quick question for you.
It's happening.
Look at that Halloween throw in there, buddy.
Look, are you still just rubbing your head in the shower with just your hands?
Yeah, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
No. That's no way to treat a scalp.
Oh,
Matt.
man.
You need to give that scalp a little TLC. That stands for tender loving care. With the new scalp buffer. So usually we talk about razors and ball deodorant and things like that with Manscaped, but they're more than that. Today we're not talking about the boys or balls. We're talking about the scalp. No.
Oh,
We're talking about your head game. So
okay, cool. All right.
Scalp buffer. Face it, it's really the only silicone toy that you need in the shower. Nothing else.
Yeah, I only really need one.
You just
I
need
don't
the
know if
one.
I need any, but if we're gonna have one, I guess this will be okay.
You need the one.
Okay,
You need the
wow,
one.
Okay.
And this is it.
And look, your scalp will thank you. I will thank you for taking care of your scalp. David will thank you for taking care of your hair since he doesn't have any and
Yeah.
doing it for in honor of him. So you need to really take care of that dome you have in that beautiful hair with the scalp buffer. David, can you tell me a little bit more about all the amazing features of this incredible silicone toy?
Yeah, so whether you have a bald head like myself or thick, luscious hair like Swift here, the Scalp Buffer is the silicone grooming tool designed to exfoliate the scalp, stimulate blood flow, and enhance shampoo performance for a cleaner, healthier head of hair. But first things first, Swift, if you look on the image online for the Scalp Buffer, you'll notice those thick silicone bristles. They're 100% antibacterial, no more germs hitching a ride on your head. The bristles gently exfoliate, nice massage,
nice.
helps your scalp. And then the product helps reduce flaking caused by dry skin and buildup. So one of the coolest features is that it's designed to stimulate blood flow for your hair follicles, increase blood flow on your head, Swift.
Yeah.
Make sure you have healthier hair and don't end up like me with nothing left. So
Okay.
Make sure you do this. Make sure you get this tool. Make sure you exfoliate that head there for you. So this means that your shampoo lasts longer. It means that you can save the extra cash for the more important things in life, such as new video games, sports tickets, or even kits for you, Swift, right?
Yes.
And, like the new kit I'm rocking tonight for the Las Vegas Lights. Quick plug for that wonderful team. But you can also pair this with the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner from Manscaped. I use that still, even though I don't have much hair left. I do use the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's great, it smells great. The product is designed to work together with that and giving your hair the nourishment and strength that it needs. So simply put, the Scalp Buffer is your scalp's secret weapon. Its antibacterial silicone bristles keep the scalp healthy, it maximizes shampoo performance, and it gives you a soothing massage. It kicks the bacteria to the curb and stores away like a champ. So your hair routine, Swift, just got a serious upgrade. So Corey, how can our folks and fans and listeners of the show get their hands on this wonderful device?
Well, first I have a question for Matt. So are we going to stop using the hands? We're going to move away from the hands now?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop.
Okay, good.
I'm kind of curious about you guys thanking me for doing this too. Like, are you gonna thank me on the show, or you're not gonna come to my house like while I'm using it? Thank you for using that.
I mean,
this is weird enough as it is.
This
I
is
just want to make.
important.
I didn't know.
This is important enough that it needs to be a face-to-face conversation. I'm going to look you in the eyes and thank you
Man, that's
using
good
the Scalp
service.
Buffer while you use it.
Okay, well, I'm sold. Sold.
So now that you're sold, for everybody else who's ready to be sold, you can join the 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped for all of their grooming needs and get the Scalp Buffer today. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code CORNDOG at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CORNDOG, all one word, at manscaped.com.
Love it.
All right, welcome back. It is time for our listener Q&A segment. I have some great questions here from our audience that I will read out to David and Matt, and they will do their best to answer. This is like a game show now. I'm going to introduce like a game show. Points will be awarded at the end. Winner will receive a all expenses paid trip. I don't know where. We'll figure it
Orlando.
out. Your budget is $50. Wherever you can get for $50, you win that. Those are the expenses I will pay. All right. So the first question comes from Elliot Fox. This is the one we actually were talking about earlier about Kalina.
Sorry, Elliot.
Yeah. So I still want to ask the question. We touched on this, and we can see if there's anything else to say. But Elliot Fox asks, Kalina has to win goalkeeper of the year, right? Then he goes, well, it is the MLS. There is a chance they will gift the award to Messi. I guess what I want to kind of say is, like, I think we're all in agreement that it should be Kalina. Obviously, we're a little biased, but I think also the statistics show for that. I do think, Matt, what you said, Hugo Lloris is the other one that I think is most likely to snag it. Is there any kind of argument to be made for him that y'all, I mean, like, and I don't know how much you followed this or what's the kind of the stats there, but what's the argument to be made for him or someone else to beat Kalina in this award?
I think Hugo was 11 shutouts. Is that right?
And I think 11 or 12. I was looking at it. Yeah, he's very similar to Kalina.
Kalina has 12, and Hugo is right there. I mean, some of these, the two other guys are close to Kalina, but I think Hugo will probably win it because he's in LA. And he's a big international star.
He's a name, yeah.
And I think that's part of the marketing of MLS is like, hey, Messi's gonna win Player of the Year or MVP, and then Tata Martinez, he's gonna win Coach of the Year, and then Hugo's gonna win. So, like, because people all over the world knows these people, and I think that's why Hugo will win. It's a crock, but that's probably why he'll win.
Yeah. This is a bit of an aside, but this is something I just feel like. I always feel like, Charlotte, we have this perception, or maybe we have this feeling about ourselves, is that, like, we don't get any kind of respect in these kind of things. But, like, I was watching, so after the DC match, I turned it over to MLS 360 just to kind of be watching, their whip around and get ready for, the Western games. And they spent so much time talking about DC and how they didn't get it, and Benteke, and which again, that's a storyline to be talking about. Like, you have the Golden Boot winner and you don't make the playoffs. Like, what the heck's going on with the other team? Mm-hmm. There is a storyline there, but they almost got to the point where, like, oh, I guess we should say, like, good job, Charlotte.
Yeah, like, it's well, and Benteke comes from the Premier League, so again, he's a big name that everybody's going to recognize. Is this inferiority complex that MLS still has?
Yeah,
that has carried over, and they feel like they have to over market to the globe. So that's the narratives that they're gonna push. Anybody that has come over from England that's a big name, they are going to ram that down everybody's throat.
Yeah. And to that point, I don't think it's just a thing against us. I think you see in other markets too, other markets who don't have those big splashy signings or the big name, quote unquote, signings, that you just don't hear about those teams, even if they're having a good season and have a lot of success. You just don't hear those names. There is a big emphasis on, the names from Europe that you would know, or the names from the World Cup that you would know. So anyway, that was something that kind of bugged me. Actually, like, you got to the point where they started talking about us. I was like, ooh, they're talking about us. Like, I got so excited. I was like, that's sad that I'm that excited when we're 5th place in the East and we should be being talked about more often in the conversation about MLS. Anyway, all right, I'll give us a box. Next question from Chris Linker. Why do you think none of our defenders were nominated for defensive player of the year? David, I'll start with you this time because I didn't let you answer last time.
I don't really have a good reason other than I think national attention, and I think part of it is that marketability, attention. I think if we would have had anybody be defender of the year, it had to be Malanda.
Yeah,
potentially, right? Byrne obviously was really lights out towards the back half here, especially after Leagues Cup, and especially when we started using him more in an attacking role. But I think Malanda would have been our nominee to be potential defender of the year, or a finalist, right? I think he was a nominee at one point, but I don't know if he was a finalist from that. But other than marketability, to be honest with you, I mean, Malanda's a pretty young guy. He's in Charlotte. It's not like we're a large market team. It's not. Yes, we have a ton of clean sheets, one of the top ranked defenses. He should be talked about more. I think a lot of the pundits and writers for the league understand who Malanda is and how he is bound for Europe versus, being here long term. But I think it's also, going back to the Kalina and the goalkeeper of the year award, it's marketing. MLS is a single-bodied league, and they are going to look out what is best for the league versus what is best for the player sometimes. And they want the big names and the teams, and for whatever reason, want Miami and LA on a pedestal consistently.
I'm going to be cynical real quick. Shocker. If Tim Ream would have been on this team from the very beginning,
I could see that.
He would have been talked about because he is a U.S. men's national team player. And again, MLS narrative-wise, that's a great talking point. American dude. Like, if he would have been on this team from the very beginning, they would have talked about it. He would have been the guy. That should tell you everything you need to know. I think Malanda, could have been in the conversation. He didn't score enough too. They do take that kind of into consideration. Assist as well. Center backs have it's a little different, but like I look at Walker Zimmerman, defensive player of the year, U.S. men's national team player. There's a narrative there. So he just, fortunately and unfortunately, our whole defensive line has been good. And then you have Kalina, so you kind of spread the love around a little bit. You don't have like one focal point. But I do say that if Tim Ream would have been here the whole year, it would have been him.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say it's both of those points too, as I think, Tim Ream definitely. But I think you're right. I think what's hard about the defense is the unit has been so impressive. There's not, Malanda's the one I would pick, but it's not like, oh, Malanda is the guy. It's like, no, he's great.
Yeah.
But it's the unit of Malanda, Privet working together. And then you've got, Byrne and kind of the rotation on the left back side. But, it's just been a unit. So I think of the defensive unit, including the back line and Kalina is the one that deserves the award of that unit because of like his individual contributions to that. And it's hard to pick one player from there to be a defensive player of the year. But they would have. I think they would have picked Tim Ream had he been there all year because he could be like the name that could represent that defense being so good.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm with you.
I just have to say, because like I've been busy looking up Christian Kalina stats here while you guys were talking, and just there's got to be like it cannot not be him. Like I'm literally looking.
You would think.
I'm just gonna read, and I don't mean to jump back to the previous question, but I just have to read.
Read out some of these
I have to
stats.
read some of these things. Like, and this is from FBref, and I don't know if you look at FBref or not, Corey or Swift, but they take these stats and it compares them over the top 14 competitor leagues for men's soccer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's competing goalies and comparing them in a percentile over basically other goalies in EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga, like all of these different leagues. Christian Kalina is in the top like 4% in expected goals against keepers, but then didn't allow the goal. So PS, expected goals and goals against. So he is plus 0.31. Hugo is at the 50th percentile. So allows more goals in, that's expected. Goals against per 90 minutes. Hugo's at 1.21, again in the 40th percentile. Christian Kalina is at 1.09 per 90 minutes in the top 25th percentile. Save percentage, Christian Kalina is at 76%, again, top 20th percentile. Hugo's at 70% in the bottom 40 percentile of keepers. So the only thing that is very similar between the two, like Christian Kalina is, we'll have to tweet this out, Swift, just to kind of show the difference between the two. But the only thing that Hugo is similar to in terms of stats is PK save percentages. And the only reason is because like it's like 0.1% difference because Hugo had more PKs against him. Kalina only had one PK against him the entire year. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
No, I agree. And I think those stats kind of speak to something. I think it was Eric Krakauer said it on the broadcast this past weekend. It was like, what's been impressive about him is when he gives up a goal, like the person earned the goal. Like it's got to be a heck of a shot, or something happened. Like if it's a goal that he has a chance to save, he's going to save it. And talking about how that gives confidence to the defense. And I think that goes with that expected goals against and save percentage kind of thing you're talking about is like, he's going to save the ones he should be saving. And then if you're going to get one past them, it's either something wacky happened and he was out of position because of a deflection or whatever, or it's like someone just hit like a ridiculous shot and it was just almost impossible to save. And I think that's what's really impressive is like, if he's got a chance at it, he's going to stop it.
So again, and just they're comparing him to all goalies in these leagues, and he is in the top 4% in expected goals against, but saves, right? And they're comparing them against MLS, Belgian Pro League, Brazilian Serie A, English Championship, French League 2, German Bundesliga, Italian Serie B, Mexican Liga MXE, Spanish League, Copa, UEFA Europa Confederates League. Like it's top goalies out there that they're comparing them to and similar, and he's outperforming them from that perspective.
He's having an MVP season, and he should get MVP.
Yep.
But hopefully he doesn't get done in by the other stuff we discussed.
Yep. Sorry, I just had to go back because I was busy looking up that stuff. So
real quick, I know we have one more question about awards that I know Matt's excited to get fired up on. But I just wanted to, because I was scrolling through the site just as we were talking about this, just to like see if anything else jumped out to me. And I understand that by the definition of this term, he is eligible. But Luis Suarez being up for MLS Newcomer of the Year is just
ridiculous,
freaking hilarious to me.
It is the most ridiculous thing ever.
I mean, I know it just means that he's new to the league. I know that's what the award is. He is eligible, but it's like, does he really need like a welcome to the league award? Like, what are we doing?
You know why? You know why they need it? Because they need someone else on the stage from Miami. Is what they need.
Gotta get that pink on there.
What are we doing? All right. Anyway, let's go to. Let's just complain one more time. From Marty Harris, can someone explain to me why Dean Smith is not one of the 3 candidates for manager of the year. And I'll read out the finalists. So we've got Chris Armas from the Rapids, Tata Martino from Miami, and then
who?
Yeah,
sorry,
Wilfried. Is it Nancy, right, from Columbus Crew? So those are our 3 finalists. So should I give the floor to you, Matt, first? Let you do your thing.
Yeah, please give it to him.
God Almighty. Wilford should be on there.
Sure.
The other 2 are laughable. And I don't care what anybody says. Tata should not be in the running. I'm sorry. You have the best player in the world on your team, and then you have 3 other world-class players on your team. And I tweeted this out. The league bends over backwards to accommodate your team. We don't know if they even followed roster rules at all, because it doesn't seem they do something different than any other team. You literally have a dream team, and you finish first, and it must have been so unbelievably difficult for Tata to be manager of the year. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he pulled it off with Messi on your team and like Suarez and Busquets and Alba. Like, it's just got to be just so difficult to win games with the squad that you have. And the referees just kind of, the wind blew and Messi fell down. Oh, it's a foul. Give me a break. And then Armas, what did he do? Colorado finished 7th. Congrats. They were crap last year. They're not that great this year. So, I mean, the thing is, like, I look at LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy was 2nd from the bottom. What did they finish? 2nd?
Yep. I agree.
So and Colorado was just right below them, not far off. They finished 7th. So how is LA Galaxy's coach not in the running? It makes no sense. But Chris Armas is a former U.S. men's national team person, and it's garbage. Like, and Tata, the whole thing's dumb. I hope Wilford gets it. So just makes me so mad.
I just love it.
What really grinds Matt Swift's gears. Yeah.
Pink. All right, Dan, how about you?
No, I have nothing to add to it. It should be. I agree. I agree with. I would love to have Dean Smith as part of the conversation. Do I think he would win it? Probably not. But I do think he should be part of the conversation, at least compared to some ridiculous.
If Dean's not going to be in the running, okay, whatever. Armas, that doesn't make any sense to me. Just from like positioning, like LA Galaxy did way better this year than last year. That's a drastic difference.
Yeah.
And then the whole having a dream team and not following any rules that everybody else has. Like, Miami is playing Friday, their playoff game, because the league didn't want any other games to be going on so we can showcase Miami.
And then they're going to have a Messi cam that is only fixated on Messi. So Corey, I know you're a big TikTok guy. So if you go on TikTok, you can watch this game live and watch every move that Messi makes, even when not on the ball, when he's walking on the pitch.
So he walks 80% of the match. Like, it's not a thrilling cam.
So I'm really hoping that cam is on him. And then, like, as Swift shared last episode or two, that they have like 4 kids storm the pitch, and it's just fixated on Messi,
happen.
And it's gonna be like they don't know what to do. They're gonna like freak out and pan off him for a second. It's absolutely insane. It'd be like, we're gonna have a Tom Brady cam when he's at the Buccaneers, and just fixated on him the entire time for the entire, just standing on the sideline, just talking.
So they're literally having Miami play a day before everybody else, so they could just be like, here's our
it's ridiculous.
Our lovely Miami. Enjoy it. Bask in all its glory. Yeah, Tata, it must be so tough being Tata and coaching this team.
So, and not to go down this whole rabbit hole, because I remember, I think a year ago, I was on this soapbox, but like, Tata's not going to stay in Miami once Suarez and Messi leaves. he's not going to stick around.
I mean, God,
Half
if you win everything, why would you stay? And it's really tough to be there in Miami and have everything kind of like handed to you and
have
like
no income
praised
tax
about every single. It's got to be so taxing. I just don't see why it hasn't left already. It's got to be exhausting being him and coaching that team.
The league has got to be careful that they don't ham fist this so much that it just. I don't know. Like it's not sustainable what they're doing.
Yeah, look, I was a big proponent of Miami coming. I understood why the league was like pushing it. But there is a certain point. It's like, okay, it's starting to get a little absurd because what you want to draw people in, right? With Messi, and you gotta go a little overboard with it at the beginning. But once you get them in, like start highlighting these other teams. I saw a tweet, I think, or maybe it was Instagram, where I think it was Denzel from Nashville. If I'm sure people are listening are familiar with him. He posted out, I think it was him, of how like on MLS's Instagram, it was literally like all Miami, and he was just like, guys, there's other teams in this league. Like, I get it, you gotta push it, and I totally understand, but like, there's other teams. So it is getting a little absurd at this point.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say he's a fun follow. Like I know he talks trash to a lot of fans and everything like that. He's a
he
fun
can be
follow,
the worst,
but, like,
but he's good.
He is, but like I just have to laugh. Like the first thing that pops up on his feed when you pull him up on Twitter is him quote tweeting Taylor Twellman, and there's a video and it's him being sarcastic, going, "You will never believe who he's picking to be the 2024 MVP." Shocked face. And,
yeah,
and it's a video of Twellman breaking down Miami and just ridiculous. So but go ahead, Corey. I'm sorry.
No, the only thing I was going to say is to Matt's point, which I just love how it drips more and more sarcasm each time he says it. Like, I think there are some situations where a coach does have to work really hard to manage superstars, right? Like, I think there are situations. I think you're right. Like, you see this maybe more in the NBA where it's like,
Steve Kerr.
You got a lot of big personalities, and you got to figure out a way to make them work together. Or like, if you want to continue with basketball, like coaching Team USA in basketball, you've got a bunch of big superstars, and you got to put some of them on the bench. Like, there is a difficulty and an art to making all these individual superstars work together. That is not a situation here. That's what I was getting at. Is like, this is not one of those. Because there is plenty of room on the roster. Everybody has a spot. There is no question about who goes where. And they all work together well because they played together in Barcelona. So, like, there's no – it's not hard. Like, this isn't a situation where, like, you're having to do a really good job of, like, that people management as a coach. Not tactically. Like, you know what they're going to do. You got to work on, like, the locker room stuff. No. I think everybody's just chilling.
Yeah.
Like,
so, and MLS is not like the NBA or the NFL. MLS has all these quote unquote roster rules that are very strict, unlike these other leagues where you can have multiple kind of like all-star teams. MLS, you can't, just because how the roster rules are constructed. But then you have a team that somehow, some way, is managing to have a dream team, and other teams, I don't know. It's kind of weird. So
that's what I wanted to, and it's perfect segue because I was going to bring this up, Swift. So again, this is Tata's up for Coach of the Year. I'm going to read this stat to you. So MLS Players Association put out the roster spend today. Okay. So the number one roster spending team is, of course, surprise, surprise, Miami, with $41 million spent this year on salary alone. Okay. Half of that is to Messi. So Messi makes $20 million. Highest paid player in the league, right? And that's not even counting the backdoor deals and Apple cut he's getting on that stuff, right?
Half of your team's salary.
Yeah.
So half of your team's salary is one player.
Here's where it gets even funnier, right? The second highest spent team is Toronto and they're at $30 million, I think.
Sure.
And it's because Insigne is making $15 million. But here's the funny thing about it. If you take Messi out of the $41 million, Inter Miami is still the second most roster spend in the entire league, with Messi taken out of the equation at $21 million. Like how? Like, so yeah, coach of the year, roster build of the year. Surprise, surprise that they're the best from that perspective. Get out of here.
I would love someone to take me through the roster and be like, all right, here's how we're really doing it. And we've touched on it before on the show. Like, okay, there could be endorsement deals on the side. I would just love to see it. I would love to see the breakdown of it, because it looks fishy. It smells fishy. Could be fishy. But the whole reason I'm saying all this is that you have Tata as coach of the year, and it just makes me, you could probably hear my eyes rolling.
Yep.
I feel it through the computer.
We have to move on.
Go ahead.
We've been going for like 20 minutes. We've answered 3 questions. All right. Sean Clarkson asks, can we talk about MLS pundits and how wrong they were about Charlotte FC in the preseason? And I would love to, because I did send this out on Threads and Blue Sky, I think are my posting places of choice as of now. I did the classic screenshot of the preseason predictions. And just short version is all of them were double digits except for one. Most of them were in the 13 to 14 range. I think one person had as an 8th. That was the highest we got by far. And everybody else had us down in the basement of the league. So, they were wrong. Any other thoughts you have? Any other thoughts y'all have about it? Yeah.
Not to belabor it for too long, because I know we spent a lot of time on those 2 questions or 3 questions, but I think it speaks to 2 things. One, parity within MLS. I know we were just talking about the not parity for MLS or for Miami. Take Miami out of the equation. MLS does have a lot of parity across the board in terms of like predictability and teams alternating from being good. We just talked about LA Galaxy going from like second bottom in the West or whatever it was, or 11th, to finishing second, right? So there's parity there for the most part, and it's hard to predict that. And I think it also speaks to what's fun about this league is that it does kind of change a little bit for the most part on where performance is. But we've always known the talent has been here for the most part. We've had a few DPs here and there that haven't worked out, but the majority of the roster build has been decent. And it just took the right coach and the right time to do it for us, which is why we outperformed according to the quote-unquote experts written out there.
Yeah, predictions are hard to do in general, so I know it's a kind of a thankless job when they do this. I mean,
it is.
Somebody's going to be angry, but I think they disregarded the talent that we had on the team. I think they looked at the Swiderski situations and the DP situation and was like, yep, they don't know what's going on. You know, throw my hands up. Yeah, they're going to be like dead last.
I mean, to their defense, look at the roster in February compared to the roster now. Mm-hmm. We had no Gianni. We had Junior Urso, who we put on a trial to sign last minute. We had Kamil Józwiak, Karol Swiderski, and Enzo Capetti as our 3 DPs, and we quote unquote shipped 2 of them off. And it was like, here you go. Who's starting at left wing for you and right wing? I don't really know. Who's starting at midfield? Ashley Westwood. And then I don't really know. And then the defense historically had not been great. So I get why there was skepticism there. But I think the roster build and adjustment throughout the season helped drastically on top of having Dean Smith here.
I could see them saying 8th, 9th, 10th, but not that.
I agree.
That's when I get bitter.
I agree. I get that. I agree with that.
Yep. All right. Next question from Brian Duncan. Would you start Vargas again? He seemed to have a decent night in DC despite struggling here of late. So we talked about how he rotated the squad a little bit in this game against DC. There's actually a couple of questions along this. I'm actually going to, let's combine these 2 questions. So the next one's from Jay Landskroner. Dude, Swiderski and Abada start the next game, or do you think Pat will be up front to start the game? So let's just talk about the whole front 3 there. What do we think that starting lineup is for the Orlando match on Sunday? Matt.
Oh, yeah. I at first I want to just go back to the original lineup that we had. Vargas comes out. He comes off the bench. Swiderski up top. So you got Abada and Beal on the wings. But with this being kind of a tough match down in Orlando, they might want to go a little defensively, so you might see a little different lineup there. I don't know, but I think I just prefer Swiderski, Pep, and Abada.
David,
agreed. I don't. Carroll Swiderski doesn't scream super sub like Pat does coming off the bench. So for me, I say you start Carroll. You do not start Vargas. I know he's may have played better of late, but he's not at the level of Abada or Pep at the wing. So you stick with the hot hand. I mean, we scored 12 to 13 goals in 5 games. There's a reason for it. So yeah, got to stick with it.
Yep, I agree. All right. Russell Varner asks, what worries you most about Orlando, and what gives you confidence about our matchup with them? David, I'll start with you this time.
I don't really have any good reasons to worry about Orlando other than just the last performance we had where we just couldn't get hardly any shots on goal, and it was away and it just didn't look good and just craziness and all that stuff. But I don't have a reason for it other than just my gut. So I kind of forgot the second half of the question there.
What gives you confidence about our matchup with them?
I would say the amount of goals we've been scoring. I think that's what's giving me some confidence there. And I'll be there. That's giving me confidence. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I will be there, Russell.
It's a good one.
So look for me on TV. Look for the crazy guy that's bald with a flag.
I like it.
Me.
All right, Matt.
I think cards give me worry. It being physical and getting out of hand, someone getting in trouble. What gives me confidence is now we're a new team. Like I said, we've talked about earlier, we can transition better. We're better offensively. We've got more threats on the field. We're not just one-dimensional now. I think that gives us kind of a different look than last time we really played them. I think we're really coming into our own, and we can beat anybody. I think we have that confidence, too. I think that Miami game, again, is what really kind of like we can literally take it to anyone. Yep. So that gives me confidence.
Oh, this is a side note, but I didn't want to keep jumping in when y'all were doing the first half of the show. But I really do enjoy that the Southern Belt does not include the Florida teams.
Yeah,
I mean, it's right. The way it should be.
Yeah.
Correct. I just really
Florida's
appreciate
like
that.
its own country. It is in the South. I'll give that, but it's kind of like its own little. It's like
Miami's definitely not the South. You could make an argument.
I don't view Florida as the South. You know what I mean? Like it's just
there are certain parts in Florida that are super country, super country.
Sure. I could make certain arguments. You think you could make an argument for Orlando in certain ways or that area. Miami is absolutely not part of the South.
So I view the Panhandle as South, but not
there's some
Jacksonville down.
There's some places in the middle of the state. Like there's a place called Yeehaw Junction that I used to drive through. So I mean, that's pretty southern, man. I don't know. So,
I'm gonna take a good old trip down Yeehaw Junction, baby.
But that's the thing. Like Florida is such a weird state because you got the beach, you got the Panhandle, you got Disney and Miami. It's just crazy. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Brad Jackson asks, would you keep Pep on a permanent deal? Matt.
Yeah, I tweeted this out like after the game. I'm like, I think he's proven himself, and I think you keep him because he's going to be used to playing with everybody, and if he keeps progressing, we're going to have a couple more games here to see if this progresses the way it has been. But so far, so good. It's a pleasant surprise because I think everybody's kind of like, I don't know, man, long, we'll see. And he, quote unquote, started kind of slow, which I don't agree with. I think he just needed more games. But I think he's starting to find the rhythm. And so far, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah. How about you, David?
As long as he doesn't go on Twitter after a playoff game and do like Evander did and go on a rant about men not being men and not fulfilling their promises and stuff like that. Keep him here. I'm all for it.
Yep, I hear you. All right, next question from CLTFC fan. How far can Charlotte FC go with the talent we have? This is a three-parter, so I'm just going to read all three. So how far can Charlotte FC go with the talent we have? Do we have what it takes to beat Orlando, Miami, and Columbus? What would you guys do if Charlotte lifts the MLS Cup in December? So I think we could take the first two together. Like, how far can we go? / do we have a chance against some of these top teams in the league that we would be matched up against? Let's start with that first. How about you, David? What do you think?
We're gonna win it all. We have the ability to win it all. I'm telling you right now. I said it last episode. We're gonna win it all. We can do it right now.
So then I'll ask you, what are you going to do if we win it all?
I have no idea. I already have a Charlotte FC tattoo, so I can't do that again. I mean, I guess I could.
You can.
I can't. I don't know if my wife would appreciate that very much. But I don't know. I have to think about that. Put something on the record. I'll think through that a little bit. But I do think. I mean, we've shown it. We've shown that we can keep up with Miami. We've beaten Columbus before. We've beaten Cincinnati. We've been able to play against Orlando. Like, why can't we win it all? I mean,
yeah.
Why not? Why not, Swift? Convince me why not. Be the negative Nancy. Plus, I got money on it. I got money that we're going to win, so I want that. I want that ticket. So
I won't be negative Nancy. Everybody that knows me, I'm a Charlotte FC homer. But so I think we 100% can get past Orlando. I think we can actually beat Miami. And then that's going to happen. And then all the pundits and Don Garber, everybody's just going to tune out the rest of the playoffs because Miami's not in it anymore. I think when we get to Columbus, though, I think Columbus is the team that's just a complete team from top to bottom. I think that's where we could falter. I would love to say we could win it all. And I think, anything can happen. And I love this team very much. I still think we're like one player away, the player that can like pull something out of nothing. You know, kind of like when Messi scored that goal. I'm not saying that we would ever get like a Messi, but like someone like that.
Yeah.
If we win next year, I'm going to go to Miami. I'm going to invade the pitch naked. I'm going to run up to Messi, and I'm going to flip him the bird and show him my Charlotte FC tattoo. That's what I'm going to do.
God, I want us to win so bad now.
I'm putting it on the record right now. I want that to happen drastically.
So I'm going to need bail bondsman and
we win the league, Swift, with my bet back in February. I can bail you out of jail,
yes,
so it's
there
fine.
There
you go.
Okay, real quick. How many pitch invaders do you think there'll be Friday night? Miami versus
at least 4.
Yeah.
I think 2.5.
I think there'll be a playoffs. They better have extra security, but man, like, I don't know, those kids are small, man. They can get through things really quick. It's crazy.
Oh, love it. All right. Another question from Jay here. Who do you think will be the most instrumental player in the Orlando series? And then he follows it up with, why is it Junior Urso? So he answered his own question, which I think it's a pretty good shout for someone who could be a game changer in that series. But Matt, what are your thoughts?
No, I think it's a good call because I keep saying the midfield is where we're going to win or lose. Yeah, I think I look at Westwood, Bronico, and Urso.
Yeah,
they've got to play tough. We got to get some things done. We just have to win the middle. So Urso's a good call out, and it'd be good to get some, I guess, revenge against his old team.
Yeah, David.
I was gonna say midfield, but Swift took it. So to be different, I agree with Swift. By the way, I think it's a midfield. It could be Urso, it could be Brandt, it could be Ashley Westwood. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna say Abada be the difference maker. So
that would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's the midfield. It's going to be that collective 3 there. That's going to be the difference maker for us. We've got the attacking power there. If we can create, if we can maintain, be sound defensively, not open up a lot of chances in the middle, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Urso has been playing well, and he's been like this close to so many goals.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is like, I mean, I know he scored, but like there have been so many that are like, if you just that close.
Yeah.
And he could be like,
I was just going to say, I want this to be like his Justin Merrim game where, Merrim played in Atlanta and scored like 2+ goals in Atlanta. I need Junior Urso to come in and score like 2+ goals and do his bear celebration and, shush his Mickey Mouse, fans there. It'll be fine.
All right. Last question from Matt Chantry. Give me a Charlotte FC related bold prediction for the playoffs from each of you.
Oh,
And don't make it something easy like we'll win the MLS Cup. So we can't say that.
Damn it.
It needs to be a bold prediction that maybe isn't an obvious prediction.
I got you. I already got one off.
You got one, David?
I've got one already. It's bold and it's kind of ridiculous, but I'm going to go ahead and say it out there into the universe.
Yeah.
Karol Swiderski is going to score the most goals in MLS playoffs this year and then get sold in the offseason because of his performance. So there you go. That's my bold prediction. You want bold? Jesus. I got you, buddy. It's ridiculous, but it's bold. I got it.
Wow.
King Karol. There you go.
Wow,
Swift is speechless.
Rethink right now. I was gonna say, I said mine earlier. We beat Orlando, we beat Miami, and it's gonna ruin MLS's whole storyline. And then I do think I don't know if we get past Columbus. So
that's not a bold prediction.
Yeah,
that's.
Here's like, and I don't know if this counts for what Matt's asking, so you can yell at us later. But I guess I would throw out a prediction of, because we're not guaranteed that Columbus will make it that far, right? Like, so I'd throw out a prediction of like Columbus, we get through Miami and we don't play Columbus, right? Like that's what I would. I mean, because playoffs are goofy. Like I know it's like if you do it chalk, that's how it should work, and especially when you're doing a 7-game series, that's typically how it does work. Is the best team most of the time, not all the time, most of the time makes it through because over 7 games it kind of evens out. Playoffs like this are weird, so anything can happen. You have an off night and then you're out, and you never know. So that would be the bold prediction I'll make, is that if we get to that round, Columbus won't be there.
Ooh, what'd be really cool? So if Red Bull were to beat Columbus in that first game, and then they beat either Cincinnati or NYCFC, and then we beat Red Bull, because that's a team that I really cannot stand and would love to beat.
Yeah. I think it'd be great. I was going to say either Columbus or Miami doesn't make it to when we play them, but I'm going to stick with Columbus. I think.
Oh God!
I think Miami.
Can you imagine playing Atlanta?
I think Miami will make it to the second round. That's what I was thinking. Like since we play them second round.
That's a bold.
Yeah, I think Miami makes it to second round. So I'm going to leave that. But my bold prediction would be that we don't play if we got past Miami, it's someone other than Columbus in that round.
See, that's a bold prediction there, Swift.
I just want
Miami and Columbus don't make it, and it's Charlotte and Atlanta.
What I really want to happen is Don Garber to start sweating because LAFC and Miami are losing the first round of playoffs. I just want all the pundits, everybody on Apple TV, be like, "Oh my God, we had all this content about our favorite teams, and now we got to talk about
Messi Cam.
Now we got to talk about all the Pories out there and all the normal teams."
We had Messi Cam that we now have to convert into Bronico Cam.
Yeah. Oh gosh, and then Tata, poor Tata.
Oh, Tata, poor boy. I love it,
man,
love it. I got a fun question then. On that note,
sure.
If Messi Cam gets canceled because of this, what player on Charlotte FC would you want to have a camera set to for the entire match?
I have an answer for this. I would want it to be Westwood, because I think when we were talking about my softball on-field issues that we had at the end of the season last year, I mentioned that I feel like what I love about watching Ashley Westwood is he's the nicest guy, it seems like, and just really great, and mostly has this calm exterior, but he does so much shit talking and instigating on the field. But I think it's not obvious. He's just clearly saying things and doing things to people, and you always see it explode. Like whenever there's a fight or a scuffle on the field with Charlotte FC, he's in the middle of it. Like he's there, and so he's doing stuff to people on the field. And so I just want to cam of him, like, what's Ashley saying to that guy? What's
mic him up. I want
a solo cam on Ashley Westwood to watch what he's doing in the midfield.
Yeah, sometimes he's pointing at the referee as he's cussing him out, and I'm trying to read his lips. He's really pointing. I'm like, dang, are you threatening the referee or cussing him out? What's going on?
I'm gonna pitch this idea for content. This is where we're starting to get silly on the show. I'm sorry for derailing here. But like the bad lip reads, like the videos and the sports stuff that's out there. I think they do one for baseball a lot. I need a video like that of just Ashley Westwood, but it's just mouthing. We don't know what he's saying. And then we hire Matt Chantry to be the voiceover for Ashley Westwood. And that way he can just say whatever we think he's saying. And he'll just say it in a nice British accent and make it come to life.
I think you need to make this happen. I think this is all achievable.
So Joe LeBlue and everyone from the team, if you're hearing this, there's your free content idea. Call Matt Chantry.
We need to do it. We put it on our socials.
I just need footage of Ashley Westwood. I just need that.
I'm sure we can find it. Yeah. Just don't tell Apple. We can find it.
Shh. Tim Cook.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Perfect. Great.
All right.
That's how we end the show.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? We've answered a lot of questions here. We've had a lot of laughs, a lot of good times as we get ready for the playoffs. So anything else that y'all want to share?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna be like Steph Curry and be like, "Go Panthers" at the end of this. But I'm gonna say, "Go Charlotte FC" at the end of this. There you go. So be good.
That was, if you don't know what that reference is, that was one of the funniest things I've seen because it was Scott Van Pelt. No, yeah, it was Scott Van Pelt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He just says, "Good luck with that."
Panthers, good luck with that. And Steph just breaks out laughing. It's just a great little back and forth.
So
I appreciate Steph still being loyal to the Panthers when he has so many better options. All right, well, David, have a great time in Orlando. I look forward to seeing your adventures on the socials.
Very serious adventures.
Yeah, very serious adventures. If you're still there on Monday, I'll hit you up. No, I'm just kidding. I will if you're there on Monday. You're not going to be on Monday, though. So, but enjoy the match. We'll be back next week to talk about how we won the first match and get ready for the Friday night home playoff match for the first time in Charlotte's history, which will be awesome. So we'll talk to y'all then. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.